Thank you so much. Thank you. You're so kind. You're so kind. This keeps falling. But anyway, my next guest, we're going to be talking about something very, very, very interesting. You can call it A.G.E. That's the acronym A.G.E. A.G.E., which means the Association of Ghana's Elderly, for which I'm a proud member. Show me some love. With the elderly ones. But she's come up with a very, very amazing concept of the elderly as stakeholders in national development. Let her tell you herself, listen to her, and you'll be amazed at what we can do. Put your hands together. Let's welcome Dr. A.G.E. Ansah. There we go. Very good. Very good. Very good. Thank you. Have a seat. Yes, she's in the house. Dr. A.G.E. Ansah. We're going to be talking about age when we come back. Stick around. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Oluman Buki will be right back.
We're back on the KSM show, and I have somebody that's a dynamic woman, man. I mean, you should hear her talk. When I go to the springboard, and I'm a speaker, and they tell me to speak after her, and I'm a host, so, you know, because Obano Yobu, put her hands together for him, man. But yes, welcome to the show, man. I'm saying man, I say man for everybody. And by the way, you don't know, but your father taught me.
Ah,
yes.
I see.
The great PAV Ansah, by the way, put your hands together. And first year Napton. Wow. He was, I don't know what I don't know, but he taught me. Yeah.
I see.
So I see, the apple doesn't fall far from the tree, you know.
Not at all.
But age, Association of Ghana's Elderly.
Elders.
Oh, elders.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. What's the concept about?
In 2012, during the election season, I was listening to all the, different parties pitching whatever it was they had, and I realized that nobody was talking about senior citizens. And I had a grandmother. I only lived to see, came to meet my maternal grandmother.
Okay.
And I realized that nobody was talking about the elderly, and a lot of times when you think of programs and initiatives, it's girl-child education, children. When we talk about vulnerable populations, children, the physically challenged, but we almost always leave out the elderly. So that got me thinking. And I'm a member of the Africa Leadership Initiative, West Africa. And we all have leadership projects. So my project initially was supposed to be on entrepreneurship and education for young people. And I realized, no, everybody's working with young people. I already do work with young people, but nobody's talking about the elderly. And the challenge is that society has changed so much. And so gone are the days when grandmother is in the house, there are children running around outdoors, it's gone. And so now you have senior citizens who they've retired, they're home, they're alone, children are in school, adults are working. In this economy, you can't sit home doing nothing. And so I realized that it's not so much the health challenges. When you think of elderly people, a lot of times you think of health being the biggest challenge. But I realized that there was a lot of social isolation. So you're home and there's nobody there. You're there in the silence and you start looking at yourself, hey, today here I am, I can't, I'm losing my independence. Financially, you're losing your independence because you're no longer working. Physically, you're becoming weaker, etc. So I began to understand it's not so much health challenges leading to mental health. Physical health leading to mental health challenges. But it's really up here. You start looking at yourself, start feeling sorry for yourself. How did I wind up this way? There's nobody around. Society is changing. Everything is so fast. The internet, there's so much going on. So you feel left out. And at the end of the day, that begins to affect your mental health, depression, loneliness. And then that really begins to affect your physical health as well because you're not moving as much. My grandmother, her house was in Osu, right around the old American embassy, the consulate. And she used to walk all the way to St. Barnabas to church. Wow. And she did that till she was in her, nearing her 80s.
Walk?
Yes, walk all the way, and it kept her going. And I realized when she slowed down, it wasn't so much the fact that physically she couldn't, go anywhere, but just sitting down and realizing, man, times have changed, things have changed, my independence being able to go by myself is gone, you know. And anyway, so all these things kind of got me interested, and over time, we registered A.G.E in 2013, and over time, it's become more of a calling and a purpose for me. So it's no longer a project like it started out to be. Yeah.
So A.G.E is to raise consciousness for us to...
There are a number of things. So one, we want to begin a movement where we start paying attention to issues that concern senior citizens. Ultimately, we just want to see senior citizens who age and enjoy good, healthy quality of life and are happy. You know, that's really what we want to do. But we also want to make sure that there's a lot of advocacy, making sure that senior citizens have a voice. You know, not just election time or there's a conflict somewhere, then you gather a few elders to come and speak. But really, when you look at the built environment, we're not building with ramps. We think of physically challenged people, but senior citizens also need railings and ramps. So built environment, we have challenges there. Technology, they're left behind, but this is actually the season where they should be in the middle of things, because many people have their children living far away. But if we're able to help them to slowly begin to adopt technology, then you can actually get on Skype with your daughter who is in China and get on WhatsApp with your son who's, you know, in Zimbabwe or wherever. So there are a number of things. In fact, there are many, many things we want to do. And a couple of major things we want to do. One, we're starting small with something that's manageable. So we're starting with an autobiography project. You can think of senior citizens who've passed on and we never learned their stories. They've gone and too late. So we have an autobiography project, and right now we're working with former headmistress of Wesley Girls High School, Mrs. Rosine Champong. So we're capturing her story. So she's writing her memoirs or her story. We have a list of other people. We want to look at themes. So people who used to work in the public sector who've retired teachers, retired people in the security services, you know, just hear from their point of view. And that's just a small project to get us started. Two of the main things we want to do, especially to launch this year, is health insurance for senior citizens. You know, you're no longer working, you don't have, it's just, you know, you go, it's a cash and carry system. Even with national health insurance, it's expensive. And so health insurance for senior citizens, and then also wellness vans. So we're calling them our WOW vans, the wellness on wheels. So you get a van, and it's not so much having a medical person on there, the medical professionals, but putting friends on there, so that if you go into a neighborhood, you can actually go, you're visiting Auntie Ansah, and it's just to sit and chat. She may not even need any medical attention, but she's there by herself. So begin to address that social isolation, and then also provide the health, you know, health services. Those are just a few things we want to do, but there's a lot we have on our plate.
Wow, wow. Put your hands together, man. And also in your attempt as part of raising funds, you climbed Mount Kilimanjaro?
Yes, I did.
Show some love, man. Is that like the tallest mountain in the world?
That's the highest mountain in Africa. So the tallest peak in Africa.
Wow.
Yes, about 19,000 feet.
And you climbed it?
Yes, I did. I live to tell the story.
Wow. So how long did it take to climb that mountain?
So it's a 6-day journey, and it's actually a 4-day trek. So you start from one end. There are different routes. We use the Rongai route, and this is in Tanzania. And so for about 4 days you trek. So you travel a little bit, you stop at a camp, you know, sleep in your tent. I remember our first night, we slept in our tents outdoors, and there was a porcupine nearby. So I saw a nice big juicy porcupine. And it's a 4-day trek. The terrain is rugged. You know, when you start, it's very nice and smooth. So you think, oh, that's so easy, and then you start going, and then you realize, okay, the rocks and everything. But it's a 4-day trek to the base of Kilimanjaro itself. And each day you might walk for about 4 hours, rest, 6 hours, rest.
Wow.
And then the last but one day before you ascend, we actually do, it's about a very short 3-hour trip to the base. And then you get there around 12 noon, you relax, and then you're asked to sleep. So you sleep, and around 11 p.m. they wake you up. And by midnight, you're strapped up, and it's cold.
Wow.
It's freezing.
Wow.
You know,
so they wake you up, and
they
you all
wake
go in
you
the group?
up,
Yeah.
And there are so many different groups who are, you know, trekking. And so you'll find, so in my team, we were 4. And it's midnight, and then we start climbing. So everybody has the lamp, you know, the headlamp. You have your backpack. And I remember our mountain guide telling me, you know, you have water, and it's a, what do we call it? The water is behind you with a tube, so you don't have to keep reaching into it, because it's -0. And he says, whenever you're done drinking water, blow air into the tube. Otherwise, the water will freeze.
Really?
And so I did this a few times, and then, I mean, too bad, I think I forgot. So when I really needed water, it was frozen in the tube, so I couldn't drink any water. So it's through the night, and it's very slippery. The mountain itself is very tall, and it's very smooth. You know, so as you're going, the grip for your feet, you need very good boots, and you're climbing over rocks. And, you know, I always say, if somebody had told me you could fall asleep climbing a mountain, I never would have believed it.
You slept?
Possible.
You were dozing?
So, as you're going, you're so tired, you're weak, you're going, and if you're not careful, if you stop too long, so whenever you stop, they tell you, no, 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 we've got to move, we've got to go. If you sit down too long, you start falling asleep.
Wow.
You know, but anyway, so it was a tough climb, and then around 7 in the morning, you start getting to the summit. And later on, when we're done, I was asking the guide, you know, why do we do this through the night? And he said, oh, you know, so you can see the sunrise is beautiful from up there and all that. And I was like, no, 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 really, why? And then he said, because when you look at it in the daytime, it's so daunting. You know, 19,000
So the night, you don't have that visual thing to intimidate you.
In the night, all you have is just one step in front of you. Pole, pole, slowly, slowly, slowly. You know, so it was tough. I got to the summit, and I thought I had arrived. And then, you know, and I was so tired. I was way behind, you know, the rest of the team were ahead of me. And I was very, very worn out. And I thought I had arrived. So you get to the peak. And then I was told, no, 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 no. Actually, Uhuru is all around the way. So you have to still keep walking. And so it took, I mean, it was tough. But once you start seeing Uhuru and you see people coming back from there,
you want to get there.
No way I'm going to go. You know, so went all the way to the top, took some pictures, and then came down. And coming down wasn't easy either. As you're coming, because it's smooth and sandy, you actually slide. You know how children slide on slippery floors? So you slide through the sand, you know, on your feet. And I got to a point where I was so weak. Some of the guides had to come up and then hold me and, you know, lead me down. So it was tough.
Put your hands together, man. Whoa.
That was worth it.
Wow. Were there many black women, black men in that?
No, you know, there were so many groups. We had a Japanese team of 19, Swiss, German, French, American. We're the only team, black people, that I saw climbing. So I asked we went with Kilimanjaro Tours, that's the name of the company, and I asked them, how often do you have black folks climbing? And they said we're their first in 5 years. You know, it's been 5 years, 5 years since their last group. And we were 3 Ghanaians and 1 Jamaican.
Wow.
You know, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, put your hands together. But so you did all of this to raise funds for A.G.E.
Yes, yes. So through the publicity and everything, we set up an Indiegogo, you know, crowdfunding site and raise some money. And it was just to raise some money to get started and then be able to continue with that, you know.
Wow.
So, yeah, that was the main reason. And also because I think 2015, I told myself, I'm looking for a challenge and I'm looking for something crazy to do. And it was one of the crazy things I decided to do.
Show some love, man. I have to say a quick story, because when I turned 50, 10 years ago, I wanted something challenging. So I went to climb Afajato. I'm telling you, that's just Afajato.
Yeah.
You know? And when I got there, I was hoping maybe a helicopter can come and bring me back down. I was coming down, they had to hold me all the You know, so I can imagine what it takes to get to Kilimanjaro.
It's tough.
Wow.
It's tough.
And you did this to raise money for...
Money, yes.
Yeah? Wow. I was going to tell you what you do to have fun personally, but does it include mountain climbing?
I've done quite a bit in the past. So I lived in the US a while back, and I did 1 or 2 hikes. I think my most recent hike before this one was in 2011 in Colorado. And then I did a Fajatu a week before, you know, heading out, because I figured, look, you can't go all the way to Tanzania to go and climb Kilimanjaro when you haven't climbed the... I had to do that, you know. And that was tough, because when we're coming down, it was drizzly. Yeah. So it was very slippery. At a point, we kind of just, you sit and then you kind of swing your way down. It was rough.
Wow, wow. And you're also an assistant professor at Ashesi.
Yes.
Yeah.
I wear many hats. So one, I teach at Ashesi University, and I teach leadership. So leadership, HR, negotiation, a bunch of classes, but mainly leadership. I also have an HR firm called A.G.E Human Capital. So we do recruitment and training, etc. I wear about 7 other hats. Oh, and then the other thing I do is I also run the Pava Foundation, which we set up in memory of my dad.
Okay.
So it's a busy.
Oh, you run that foundation?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. Show some love, man. And you brought that Kenyan guy here, right?
Professor P.L.
Yes. Wow. Yeah. Are you married?
No, I'm not.
Oh.
Not yet.
But is somebody's in the works, or you?
Not yet. Not yet? Exactly.
Really?
I keep my eyes open, though.
Really? And you haven't seen anybody so far?
It's a mutual agreement, right? So sometimes it's one-sided. So we're waiting. Once we find the mutual connection, then we'll hit it off.
So that no connection has clicked yet?
Not yet.
Okay. Wow. Yeah. Anyway, see that's great having you. And audience, this age thing, you know, is very, very important. I know, I'm there, man. And it's scary, you know, because you think, you take it for granted, and you get there and you realize, what happened?
Yeah.
You know?
And you know, our life expectancy is around 60. And my father passed away when he was 55.
Really?
Now that I have friends who are in their 50s, and I hang out with people in their 50s, I'm realizing he was very, very young.
Yeah.
I mean, I was what?
I'm thinking, wow,
50?
That's,
55. I was very young. You know, so there's a certain, for me right now, there's a certain urgency.
Yeah.
You know, one of the things that we need to start working on is how we see support systems. For example, old people's homes. In our cultural context, it's a no-no. You can't have your parents look after you and then you go and people will think you've thrown them away. Yeah. However, there are people whose children who may be childless. There are people who may not have that kind of extended family support. We have a lot of neglected elderly people, urban and rural. You know, and so a place where it's a safe haven, they have their peers, so they can play games, they can chat. One of the things that we're doing, actually, I should mention, is age circles. And we're calling them age circles, where different neighborhoods will get the senior citizens to hang out with each other. And so we have book circles, so we'll give them a book, they read, and then they can meet and discuss. Fitness and recreation, so there's something going on at the National Theatre, getting them together, getting a shuttle, and then getting them to go. And then tech circles. Tech circles I'm looking forward to, because we have young people who are eager to teach senior citizens skills, how to use a smartphone, how to use Skype, etc., so they can stay connected with the world. You know, so it's urgent and it's important.
Fantastic. So are there any specific people want to reach out to for support that you can put in a...
Yes. Yeah. So one, we're looking for people who volunteer on our membership drive. We want to register as many senior citizens as possible, and eligibility is starting from age 50. So we're interested in engaging people who are not even 50 yet, you know, some of our programs for them, but to be able to enjoy the benefits. One of the things we want to do is to rally so many people that we use the numbers to get discounts on products and services. And so to benefit from that, you need to be a member. So we have a membership drive. We'll need volunteers. We need people to help us with research. What's going on around the world? What are other people doing that's working in, let's say, Brazil or India, similar contexts across this continent, Africa? We need people who will support us financially, because all of this takes a lot of money.
Okay.
There's that, and then we also need people who are partners. You're organizing a program, you think there are some synergies, we can come and then share the platform, you know, talk about what we do, etc. And all those things, you know, in kind. One of the things we want to do is to have a shuttle that will, you know, help senior citizens to move.
Okay.
But some of those things, somebody may be able to give a shuttle as opposed to giving cash. Media, airtime, just whatever support people can give, and then volunteers.
Fantastic.
You know,
is there a number they can call or some voice? Yeah.
Yes. So 2 things. Our website is ageafrica.com. So it's www.ageafrica.com. Okay. Whatever support we can pick up, you know, etc., we can go there, pick it up. And we can share bank account numbers, mobile money, you know, different platforms and ways of getting support to us.
Okay, fantastic. And the number is on your screen right now, and the website on your screen. And please reach out and support this great cause. Age, me, I'm there, so yeah, one more, Charlie. Because I can imagine, you know, all of a sudden, you know, I'm walking, nobody knows KSM. I could cry before her, you know. Me. Esi, thank you so much. And pleasure having you. And keep it up. You're doing a good job. Okay, my pleasure. Stick around, folks. There's more to come. We'll be right back.
Like a famous robot once said, I'll be back. Stay tuned for more KSM.